purchase while you're out in the community. Once again, you might purchase all of those, you might purchase some of them, there might be some things you purchase that are not listed on there. Make this your own in order for it to work for you. What you do with the pocket tracker is you take this with you when you're out in the community. You leave that at home, you take this with you. You keep it in your wallet, keep it in your purse, and that way when you stop somewhere and you purchase something, not only are you holding on to that receipt for more than 10 seconds, but you're also going to write it in the right category, okay? Now, as you'll see in the first category here that says food, there's a dollar sign. What do you think you put next to that dollar sign?
An amount.
An amount, yes. And where do you think we're going to get that amount from? A receipt. Close. Our spending plan. Yeah. Right below is where we're going to put our receipt. But yeah, we're going to put whatever it says on our spending plan that we can spend for like dining out, hitting the drive-through, ordering in pizza, anything like that. If it says $50 is all that's in my current spending plan, then $50 is what's going to go there. And hopefully, when you're using this, you're making a point to look at it and go, oh geez, I've already spent X amount of dollars and I only have this much left to last me the rest of the month. So then when you get home, you transfer that information from the receipts that you wrote on here onto your master sheet in the respective day that you purchased that particular item, okay? I've known people that absolutely love this. I met with a gal one time. She came in because she had a $300 deficit at the end of the month every time when she tried to pay her bills. When I worked up the budget with her, we came up with a $500 surplus. Yes, that wasn't possible. So she had no idea where her money was going each month. I said, why don't you try one of these things out for a month and then come back in and see me. And when she came back in, she had like 5 of these things. They were completely tattered, and so was her wonderful fritter finder. But she used it diligently. Every day when she purchased something, she was writing it down, and she found out exactly where all her money was going. And it was going a lot of different places. But then at that point, we could sit down and actually put that spending plan together, because we knew how we could trim back things, how she could rein herself in a little bit. The last worksheet in your packet is the prioritizing expenses worksheet. When I told you we are very extensive when we go through a budget with somebody, it looks something similar to this, okay? So when you look at all those different items that are listed down the left, that's what we're asking people when we're talking to them about a budget. In that first column where it says budget, that's where you would write in how much that particular expense is. Okay, so your mortgage, you put in whatever you have to pay each month. The next column is the survival column. The survival column is there for a very good reason. There could be a time when you don't have enough money to pay all your bills one month. And there's a way to prioritize your expenses to make sure that you keep yourself safe. And so what I like to do is just go through and explain what some of those expenses are. And then you can write them in if you want to. So what do you think is one thing that you would consider a priority? You absolutely have to pay it each month. Mortgage, yes. Your mortgage, your rent, food, groceries, utilities, absolutely. Anything else? How about your car payment? What happens if you don't pay your car payment?
Supplemental health insurance.
Supplemental health insurance, yes. What happens?
Well, health insurance now.
What happens if you don't pay your car payment? Does it get repossessed possibly? Yeah. Let's see. Make sure you have your insurance paid. Make sure that your tag's up to date. There are certain things that you just can't let go when they're due. Utilities. If you cannot pay for your utility bill, whether it's gas, water, electric, what is one thing you can do to try and protect yourself? You know you're not going to be able to pay your bill. What's one thing you can do?
Talk to utility.
That's right. You can call them up, you can explain your situation and say, there's no way I'm going to be able to pay this month. I don't even know if I'm going to pay a dime towards it. And what they can do is set you up on a payment arrangement. Usually utility companies don't get mean with you until they have to track you down. And so as long as you're being proactive and you're opening up that line of communication, they're more than likely going to work with you to set up some type of a payment arrangement. And that's the same with your mortgage company too. You know, if you're keeping them in the loop in the beginning, hopefully they're working with you. They're telling you that there's other ways that you can stay in your home, that you don't have to go through the foreclosure process. And also, if you take medication, so many people that I talk to, and I say, well, how much do you spend on medication, prescription medication, over-the-counter medication? They look at me and they go, I haven't been able to buy my medication in 2 months. I hate that. I I really do. I don't like the word hate that much, but I hate that. And so make it a priority. If your doctor has diagnosed you with something and says that you need to take this particular medication each month, it's a priority. Anything that has to do with the government. So what kind of things would the government come after us for?
Taxes.
Taxes, yeah, so property taxes, real estate taxes, student loans. If you don't pay your student loan for a certain period of time, you'll go into default, and then the government can come in and garnish your paycheck. They can wipe out your bank account. They're the government. So if you ever receive a letter in the mail from the IRS, from the state, talking about you need to pay into taxes, I know it's a difficult phone call to make. I've been there myself. But pick up the phone and call, because usually they're willing to work with you. They will set you up on a payment plan. They're not expecting you to pay it back in one lump sum. So that's what you would put into your survival column, okay? The next column is the comforts column. This is you're able to pay all your bills on time in full. You might not have a penny left over to your name, but by God, everything got paid. And then finally, the last column is the above and beyond column. Above and beyond is you actually have money left over. You paid off enough things that you have a surplus at the end. And what are you going to do with that? And then you have the choice of where you want to put your money. Do you put it into savings? Do you add some more into your mad money? It's completely up to you. Always have your plan B, okay? That's your survival column, is your plan B. And there's always resources available. I'm sure there's lots of resources in Osage County that can assist you. There's United Way 211 that covers all of Kansas. If you ever run into a bind, you need a particular service, all you have to do is contact them, tell them what county you live in, the service that you need. If it's available, they will provide you with a whole list of different places that you can call. Level or average pay plans, this is wonderful when you have a spending plan because you don't have to worry about all those fluctuations in the winter and in the summer with your air conditioning and your heating. Everything pretty much stays the same all through the year. Food sharing programs, there's food drops, there's churches, there's all kinds of different places that you can go usually to try and help you when you're tight with your money on groceries. Hospital financial programs, I don't know how it is around here, but in Topeka, hospitals are not waiting around for people to pay their bills anymore. It used to be, it could be like 3 or 6 months, and if you hadn't made a payment, then they'll send you on to collections. For whatever reason now, 2 months, and you're sent on to collections. So it's a good idea when you get that first bill, and you know you're not going to be able to pay it in full, give them a call. Once again, opening up that line of communication, they can get you set up on some type of a payment arrangement. Depending on what your situation is with your finances, with your income at that particular time, they do have forgiveness programs. You fill out a hardship affidavit, and possibly they'll reduce it or they'll waive it completely. Okay, so always give those things a try before not paying it at all. And then finally, give HCCI a call. You know, we are there to help you. And we have offices in Topeka, Lawrence, and Manhattan. You do not have to physically come in and meet with us for a counseling session in person. We can meet with you over the phone, online, through email, so whatever's most convenient for you. We have tenant and landlord counseling, and our tenant landlord counselors, they handle all of Kansas now. It used to be just Northeast Kansas, and they got this wonderful grant from the Kansas Housing Resources Corporation. So now they field calls from all over Kansas regarding tenant-landlord issues. And what they do is they tell you what your rights and responsibilities are in relation to whether you're a tenant or you're a landlord. Okay, so if you ever have questions regarding that, please feel free to give them a call. We have home buyer counseling. We also have a program in Topeka called TOTO. If you're thinking of moving to Topeka at some point, we do have a housing program up there that works with the city of Topeka. Consumer credit counseling is probably what we're best known for now. That's what I am. That's what I do. So I handle financial counseling sessions. If you're thinking about bankruptcy, it's required that you go through some type of a pre-bankruptcy counseling before you actually file to get a certificate. Also, we have mortgage default counseling. So if you're having difficulty making your loan payment, there's loan modifications. There's other things. There's loss mitigation out there so you do not possibly have to go through that foreclosure process and lose your home. And we also offer student loan counseling. So if you have a student loan and you have questions, you're not able to make the payment, there's different repayment options out there that a lot of people aren't aware of, and we can educate you on those. We can be a support for you if you need to contact your servicer. That's what we do. We can't advocate, speak on your behalf, stuff like that, but we most definitely can be there trying to educate you and help you through whatever it is you're going through. And then finally, education. So I get asked by nice people like Osage County Economic Development to come down and meet with you all, but I go everywhere. So, and I talk about budgeting, credit, identity theft, student loans, you name it, here I am. So if you heard of anything of benefit that you think maybe somebody else could utilize at some point, feel free to give me a call. I'd be more than happy to come out and meet with them as well for a class. So, any questions for me? Okay. Well, thank you so
Lisa,
much. Yeah.
You had the screen right before that. You had down at the bottom,
Yeah.
priority to contact the creditor before you fall behind.
Absolutely.
I was a banker for 25 years, and I told people that if I have to call them when they're late, it's a lot different than if they call me when they're late. So
Yeah.
that's a real important thing.
And thank you for sharing that, absolutely. And I know that the mortgage payment is usually the largest payment you have to make, but if you don't make it one month, it's going to be much more difficult to catch up on that type of a payment than maybe something smaller like a credit card or a utility bill. So be sure and be calling people to let them know your situation so maybe they can help you out. All right. On the flip side of that disclosure that you filled out for me in the beginning, there is an evaluation. If you could be so kind as to complete that for me, I'd appreciate it.
I
Yes.
got their names filled in, and then if you sign off.